Hello everyone and welcome back. I am as always Inquisitor Ara, and this is How to Roleplay in World of Warcraft Role-Playing Concepts. And this week, we are going to be taking a look at the long-awaited for and long-asked-for Necromancer. Necromancy was introduced to Azeroth via the Burning Legion. The origin of necromancy dates back to Gul'dan and the First War, when the Shadow Council necrolytes developed the ability to raise corpses to serve as warriors for the Horde. However, Gul'dan did not discover necromancy. It is likely he was taught by the Nathrazim, who demonstrated knowledge by raising fallen Kaldari soldiers during the War of the Ancients. However, modern necromancers, most, if not all of them, were trained in the service of the Scourge, likely by Kel'Thuzad or any of the other liches created during the Scourge's invasion. To begin to understand what it means to be a necromancer, you have to know necromancy's roots. Necromancy began with the Legion and ended with the death of the Lich King and the shattering of the Cult of the Damned. While it is still possible to be a necromancer, it is very difficult to become one now. With Arthas and Kel'Thuzad both dead and most of the books and scrolls on necromancy destroyed by the mages of Dalaran, such knowledge is extraordinarily difficult to come by. At this point in Azeroth's history, most necromancers have been necromancers for quite some time and may be jealously guarding their secrets. It is also important to understand that most, if not all necromancers, once belonged to the Cult of the Damned. The Cult of the Damned was formed by Kel'Thuzad when he was still alive. Disenfranchised by the Kirin Tor, who had burned his books on forbidden magic and warned him that his path would lead to ruin, Kel'Thuzad left Dalaran, sold his holdings, and left Lordaeron. However, a voice called to him and led him north. The Lich King had summoned him. Convinced that the Kirin Tor was too squeamish to seize real power, he vowed to learn all he could from this Lich King. Eventually, Kel'Thuzad made it to Icecrown and passed through the gates, past the skeletal guards as if he were expected. There, he prostrated himself before the frozen throne and pledged himself to the Lich King's service. Remember, at this point in time, the Lich King was part of Ner'zhul's shattered soul, locked within the crown, Frostmourne being kept away in a cave in Dragonblight. The Lich King, pleased with this new ally, gave Kel'Thuzad his first order, to go back out into the world and found a new religion that would worship the Lich King as a god. To facilitate this, the Lich King left Kel'Thuzad alive. Remember, Kel'Thuzad didn't become a Lich until Arthas raised him using the Sunwell's energy. Kel'Thuzad returned to Lordaeron, and over a 3-year period, used his considerable wealth and intellect to gather men and women who were unhappy with the status quo and formed a clandestine brotherhood of like-minded individuals, which he called the Cult of the Damned. The cult promised its acolytes social equality and eternal life on Azeroth in exchange for absolute service and obedience to the Lich King. This hooked dozens of overworked laborers and their families. He even piqued the interest of local wealthy families, making a deal with House Barov, training in necromancy in exchange for the use of their manor as a headquarters for the cult. Soon after, the Scourge invasion, with the help of the cult, began in earnest. Kel'Thuzad would plague northern Lordaeron until he was hunted down and killed by Prince Arthas, but not before giving up Mal'Ganis' location in Stratholme. This, of course, was the trigger event that led Arthas to Northrend and Frostmourne. The rest, as they say, is history. Arthas storms Silvermoon and uses the Sunwell, with the help of Tichondrius, to raise Kel'Thuzad as a Lich. From there, they attacked Dalaran, stealing the Book of Medivh and summoning Archimonde the Defiler to Azeroth. Now that we've established the history of the Necromancer, let's delve into how to actually pull one off in role-playing. There are several classes you could feasibly use to play as a Necromancer. Necromancers almost universally started off as mages. Given that necromancy is a magical art, it's not surprising that mages might have followed in Kel'Thuzad's footsteps, using their thirst for knowledge as justification for delving into the dark arts. As such, if you choose to play a mage, Frost would be the spec for you. Necromancers are well versed in magic, and channeling the chill of the grave would absolutely be something they could do. By extension, warlocks also make a good amount of sense. Decay is an aspect of necromancy, and affliction warlocks are the masters of disease and corruption. The badass scythe also helps with the aesthetic. Shadow priests could also work. Necromancers are the masters of dark magic. Devouring Plague is a spell they would likely have in their arsenal, and NPC necromancers have shadow form and use Mind Flay. However, the obvious and natural choice for a necromancer class is the unholy Death Knight. Their ability to summon and enhance powerful undead, armies of the undead, is textbook necromancy. They also have some very castery tendencies. Frost Death Knights would also work, channeling the chill of Icecrown itself into their strikes. Also, it is important to know that most necromancers are in fact alive, Forsaken necromancers and Death Knights being the obvious exceptions. As demonstrated by Kel'Thuzad, liches are insanely hard to create. Chances are you're still sucking air just like the rest of us. If you guys want a lich guide, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Now that we've got class selection out of the way, let's take a look at some role-playing tips specifically towards personality traits. Kel'Thuzad, despite being a necromancer, was supremely charismatic and intelligent. He had to be in order to establish and run the Cult of the Damned. Being a people person or a face makes keeping people off of your true intentions quite easy. Remember, necromancers are not openly accepted and are even more reviled than warlocks. Being a necromancer isn't something you just tell people, unless you're actually a Death Knight, then you just don't care. Keeping your true self and power a secret is something you need to do. You run a really high risk of being lynched if you just casually mention you're a necromancer. Most people remember the devastation caused by the Scourge, and by extension the cult. That being said, you don't have to be social to be charismatic. In fact, most necromancers were killed off during the Scourge invasion and the assault on Northrend during the events of Wrath of the Lich King. Because of that, there just aren't that many of you left. This goes hand in hand with the hush-hush aspect of being a necromancer. You possess very dangerous knowledge that has been used against the forces of Azeroth in the past. You are well aware of just how dangerous your magic truly is, so playing the Necromancer card close to your chest is almost a survival mechanism. So is being a loner. The less people who know, the safer you are. A secret is only safe if one person knows it. Any more than that, and it's no longer a secret. Keep in mind there is also a vast difference between being social and being charismatic. You don't have to be social to be charismatic. Charisma is a matter of being charming in social situations, and it is much a skill as magic is, and can be turned on and off. While being isolated is a guaranteed way to keep your secret safe, being alone all the time is conspicuous. People who don't interact with others and go out of their way to avoid people tend to draw suspicion. Having a healthy dose of charm can go a long way to protecting you. However, there is something to being alone. Your power is sublime, a combination of awe and terror inspiring. People could see it and covet what you have, something you may seriously want to avoid. Necromancy is a carefully and jealously guarded secret. Sharing it could mean sharing your power and potentially creating a dangerous rival. However you choose to roleplay your necromancer, remember, both styles guard their secret well. Using guile and being personable is just as potent a deterrent as being a loner, and will likely get you more RP opportunities in the future. Necromancers have a long and shadowed history, their roots set firmly in the cult of the damned and service to the scourge. Possessing this power over death and undeath is dangerous and frowned upon. Role-playing a necromancer is a challenge. They are the shadow that creeps behind even the brightest of people, and they carry a dark secret. But if you can do it well, role-playing a necromancer can be extremely rewarding. Well, that is going to be it from me for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you like what you see and you want to see more, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to comment below and don't forget to subscribe. I also have a Patreon. The link is in the description box below, as well as up in my channel header art. So if you want to help me improve my video quality, make sure you stop on by and donate. Remember, your donations go directly to things to improve the quality of my videos and may lead to more videos per week. Anyways, guys, thank you again so much for watching. Have a great week, have a great weekend, and I will see you again in Azeroth.